Hey everyone, Joshua Kirk here with you once again. Now it's time for episode 160 of Album of the Day, and before we get into the video, hopefully all of you have a good Father's Day tomorrow, and stuff like that, and I'm gonna be away for this coming week because I'm going to camp and stuff like that, just wanted to let you know that. But anyway, aside from that, let's get on to the review, which today's artist is a UK-based producer, songwriter, singer, and multi-instrumentalist, whose styles range from R&B, dance and house, soul, electronic, and hip-hop kind of, blended together into one, who's really gained quite a following in the past year or so, which has built up a lot of anticipation for this album. I'm talking about the UK-based producer and songwriter known as Sampha. Of course, he's made various collaborations with Kanye West, Frank Ocean, Drake, Solange. The list just goes on and on, which has built up a lot of anticipation for his debut album, which I'm here to review today, released on February 3rd, 2017. And the album is called Process. As you can see, this is the CD version of it right here. Pretty much one of the earliest releases of the year that, people started, that critics started raving about and whatnot, and, there was definitely a lot of anticipation sort of building up to this record, considering all the, brilliant collaborations he's made and stuff like that. I first heard of his name while listening to Solange's debut album from last year, A Seat at the Table. Fantastic R&B record, by the way. Definitely check it out. Sampha's name appeared on the song Don't Touch My Hair, in terms of the writing, production, and, making a guest vocal appearance in the chorus to the "What You Say to Me." That's Sampha right there. Anyway, this is what the packaging looks like. There's over 10 songs on this record, over 40 minutes long, and it's on the independent electronic label from the UK, Young Turks, who's pretty notorious for releasing the likes of, the XX and FKA Twigs and, people like that, and of course the XX put an amazing new record out this year that I did a review for previously before this one. Anyway, there's the lyrics. In the liner notes, and that's actually a picture of Sampha. It's like a little kid with his mother. How cute is that? And actually does give some impact to the record because of, some of the lyrics and stuff like that, which I'll talk about when I get into kind of my analysis of this record. And then the CD. So yeah, it's a CD version of Process by Sampha. This is co-produced with this producer named Rodney McDonald, or however you say his first name, who apparently did work with the XX on their new record as well. So, Young Turks and, that producer pretty much have had, pretty good years so far, with a couple of great albums that both were pretty much involved in. So leading up to this album, there were quite a few singles leading up to it, released in 2016. The lead one of those being the song No One Knows Me Like the Piano, which is a heartbreaking ode to his mother. And let me say, this song is one of the most beautiful R&B songs that I have heard in a long time. Not only is the piano melody just beautiful and genius, but like the lyrical content, definitely pretty emotional song, pretty much, and much, it's sort of, talking about, his mother and how she arrived when he was like 3 years old and stuff like that. And that line, like that opening line of "No one knows me like the piano in my mother's home," right away definitely has a pretty big impact to it. And Sampha's vocal performance really does really add, uh, really add some beauty to these very poetic lyrics, like in that bridge in the middle where, he definitely does, show off, his, vocal ability, and, he's able to, like, keep a pitch and stuff like that, like that. And, he does bring up some pretty heartbreaking imagery, like an angel by her side and all the times, he knew they wouldn't cope and stuff like that. Another single for the album is the song Blood on Me, which, is definitely another amazing track as well, One of the hookier songs on the record, and lyrically, Sampha sort of paints himself on this track as, like, kind of an outsider, really, people don't really understand him because of, like, his issues with, like, not being very close to his family and stuff like that, and, like, it's kind of this situation where he's really kind of slipping up and kind of on the edge, at this point, and, like, he feels kind of shaken by these people that kind of ignore him, that kind of that tell him he's okay, tell him there's nothing wrong, but he reveals that in reality that, he believes that they actually smell the blood on him pretty much through these kind of, mental wounds that he's had and stuff like that. And also, love the instrumental on this track. Really cool beat on the song, which has really nice incorporation of cowbell in it, and, like the piano and the keyboards definitely have plenty of chemistry together. A good bass line on that track. I think that bass line actually adds a lot to that song. And Sampha's vocal. And I love, the song really does show Sampha's diversity and vocal range as well. Especially when he gets to, that chorus. I swear they smell the blood on me. I love it, And like, of course, like another single that I want to highlight from this album is the song Timmy's Prayer, which actually was co-written with none other than Kanye West, whom Sampha has, collaborated with, previously, pretty much. This song has definitely kind of almost has kind of a, cathedral kind of soul feel going on with, the organ and, the like the organ and and also love the kind of steady beat and the beat on the track as well, and a really beautiful piano work on the track as well. But what really makes this song really so intriguing is sort of the storytelling on this song. Like, Sampha definitely has abilities as a storyteller. You can really feel that throughout this debut album. Like, this isn't just some other R&B rookie trying to sort of, buy into the whole bandwagon of lackluster R&B artists. This is someone who really has some true talent and really has something authentic to say. And I really got to give it to him for that. He sort of did, like, on this song, he's sort of likening himself to like, a prisoner pretty much, and, sort of, displaying his emotions on lines like, my vital organs are beating through, my rib cage open, my heart balloon, and I've lost another one. But, also sort of bringing up, topics of, like, his family, like, specifically his brother, pretty much, much like, much and stuff like that. And so yeah, like definitely a great song, and definitely one of the album's like standout songs for sure. And also like I like the different transitions that it makes, with like the keyboards and the vocals and stuff like that. Definitely an amazing single there, and it features a sample from like The Coldest Days of My Life by Timmy Thomas. So the name Timmy's Prayer actually kind of makes sense, since that sample is used, and also because of the lyrics. Anyway, on to some deeper cuts in the record. I'm going to start with the opening track on this album, the beautiful Plastic 100 Degrees Celsius, which, sort of, he's sort of likening these emotions that he's having as like him kind of, melting from a light, without actually looking directly into the sun. And you can definitely truly feel the intimate vulnerability with this song, not just with the lyrics, but also with, some of the, stuff going on production wise. Like you can hear this like kind of, you can hear this voice of what sounds like Sampha talking through the phone, sort of saying, that he keeps looking and he keeps, melting from the light without actually, looking directly at the sun. And production-wise, the song is just beautiful, like, full, like the kind of, like the kind of, cute and heartwarming keyboard lines on the track, the kind of fragmented piano on the song too, and also like kind of the power ballad beat on the song, and as well as some pretty distinctive use of the kora as well, which is kind of like an African like a string instrument similar to like an auto harp or something like that. Which is used way more extensively on the song Kora Sings, where, you really hear Sampha on the song really delve into, themes of, like, his family, bringing up, memories from his childhood of, like, grapes on the vines, but, also sort of bringing up, to add a little introspection to it, that with family, he doesn't have the time to be, like, kind of questioning life and its pros and its cons, stuff like that, and like and like some of the lines of a mother needs her sons, she needs them near. We don't have to talk. I just need you here. Actually, makes this picture of like Sampha and his mother. Definitely gives it a little more of kind of a, like, gives even this picture an emotional impact. Tact pretty much. And like, so like, making references to his mother and stuff like that in the song. And also, love the production on this song. Like, the kora is used very, gorgeously on the song. And also do like, kind of the masterful, drums and various hand percussion on the song. But the song actually also has a bit of an Irish feel to it. I mean, like, in that part where it goes, the keyboard playing along with the kora, actually sounds kind of like a tin whistle a little bit. And then the song eventually closes out with some really beautiful female backup vocals and this kind of, really nice atmosphere of synths and piano and backup vocals and sound effects as well. Like at the end, you can hear sound effects of like a thunderstorm, pretty much, over what sounds like a shaker or something like that. So like, and this is pretty much one of the only songs on the record where it has more people, where it has, other musicians accompanying Sampha on it. Like Josh Dowdy is the kora player, the backing vocalist at the end is Sarah Groves, and Paulie Stanley McKenzie is the drummer on this song. And Josh Dowdy also is the kora player on a Plastic 100 Degrees Celsius, I think, because I think I looked that up somewhere on like Wikipedia or whatever it is. The song, after the song No One Knows Me Like the Piano, which I already highlighted, comes a bit of an interlude in the middle of the record. The song Take Me Inside, which, the transition from the last song into that one actually, feels pretty nice, considering kind of, except, this song seems to be maybe a little more about, maybe a relationship or something like that, but not really like a relationship with it's not really like a male-female relationship, but rather relationships with his family and stuff like that. So this album is sort of a process of him sort of, trying to kind of, trying to put the pieces, back together, and stuff like that. I do like this song. I think it's pretty good. The lyrics and, lyrics and musically and vocally it does sound pretty nice, but, it does, definitely feel kind of, fragmented and stuff like that, and, it feels like just a half-finished song, pretty much. I understand it was intended to be, an interlude for the record, but, the way that it kind of ends abruptly is, kind of leaves it maybe feeling a little underwhelming. But following that is one of my favorite tracks on the record, Reverse Faults. Love the kind of, actually the shrill slashes of synths on the song, they really worked, and they were kind of subtly shrill, so, they were definitely, distinctively listenable, for sure. For sure, the beat kind of reminds me of maybe something out of, the 80s or something like that, but, in a good way, pretty much. This song definitely is, a perfect little, centerpiece for the record, because it, really does show, and this song, most of the album shows kind of a heartbreaking sense of emotion, but in this one, Sampha seems to feel sort of an anger, pretty much, if you just listen to the lyrics, I threw the blame and it shattered. And also, even musically, it sounds a little more kind of in your face, pretty much. But very subtly in your face. I like how the song is kind of, he's sort of, feeling this, sense of anger, but, he isn't necessarily kind of, but it doesn't just feel like he's just, pondering this feeling, pretty much, he's, so, pretty much, and, and how he's just sort of, admitting, what, I kind of, took it too far, and, and I hurt you, and I wish I could, take it back right now. And following that is the song Under, which, is definitely another really impressive song on this record, in the sense of, the different layers of instruments and vocals. This song really just shows Sampha's production skills, for sure. And it really does show his ability to, abilities as a singer. I mean, the layers of vocals on this song is, incredible. There are, 3 different, voices stacked up on one another, in a, at the beginning of the song. I'm just gonna sing them all separately so you know what I mean. Under, thunder, 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 you, oh! Just those layers of vocals is definitely very impressive, as well as, Sampha's lyrics that sort of see him sort of, channeling some memories, and trying to put in, into them and stuff like that. And like, he's sort of, watching one of his peers, like, manipulate his, a lover and stuff like that. And like, the song is all, and the song, like how he's sort of, describing, like, this person as like a sophisticated bitter queen and a ghost in his machine. Some, pretty vivid imagery there. But the song is also very kind of cathartic, pretty much. I mean, especially in that chorus where Sampha really, kind of, explodes vocally and, brings up a line about, like, waves, coming, like, crashing over him somewhere in open sea, and him, like, gasping for air, and, like, and the different, like, layers of keys on the song is, pretty nice. Nice and, like, an interesting, texture going on to the beat. And the song closes out with a sample from the Samson and Delilah song, "I Can Feel Your Love Slipping Away." So, like, that using that sample at the end really does work, when work, like, in the context of, what the song is trying to say, sort of, as he's, as he kind of feels his, family's love kind of, slipping away a little bit, and he brings up, themes of his brother, and stuff like that on the song "Incomplete Kisses." Like, hearing the title and maybe even some of the lyrics, you may at first think it's about a male-female relationship that's kind of having some issues going on with it. But if you listen a little more carefully and dig a little deeper, you're gonna hear themes of, like, like his brother and whatnot and stuff like that, and there's definitely and it definitely has one of the hookiest instrumentals on the entire album. It's, I do really like, for sure. And the lyrics on this song, very poetic, especially in that second verse, where he sort of talks about having a bird's eye view and, seeing this boy standing at the cemetery that looks just like his brother, and, like, sort of envisioning orange, yellow, purple, and blue skies, as a painting, so true, and some beautiful piano playing towards the end, and the very soulful vocals sound really nice as well. The song, and then this album eventually closes out with the song "What Shouldn't I Be," which is by far the quietest song in the record, just featuring a couple little keyboard parts and really kind of atmospheric, beautiful harmonies in the background, as well as Sampha's vocal. But what really made, so, like, this song, structure-wise and lyrically, is pretty simple, but, definitely isn't, but definitely very effective as well. Sort of, summing up, the themes of, like, sort of, like, family ties that he's, like, putting around his neck and stuff like that, and like a ghost by his side and stuff like that, and one of the last things he says on the song is, like, like, and these last lyrics: "I should visit my brother, but I haven't been there in months. I've lost connection, single, and to how we were, and what shouldn't I be? It's not all about me." Like, sort of, will definitely leave quite an impression on you. So yeah, Sampha definitely did not disappoint with this debut album. I was definitely curious to check it out and stuff like that. A lot of people were raving about this record. There's, like, I mean, there's some, pretty positive reviews of this album, like, from various critics and, whatnot. And it did a pretty good job of living up to the hype. It's not necessarily an album you're going to be pumped up by, but it's definitely, something that, still is definitely gonna, leave quite an impression on you. I mean, if you've gone through similar things as what, Sampha has gone through here, this album is pretty bound to, move you to tears emotionally. And, the production sounds nice and whatnot, so, can't wait to hear what Sampha does next. So, definitely giving Process an 8 out of 10. And, I'll see you for episode 161.